Ayşe Berktay is a remarkable person who is really a compelling figure for PEN. She's a translator, she's a writer, and she's an advocate and activist whose passions really have focused on language. And she's committed through translation to bringing information and ideas across cultures.
Languages constitute the collective memory of humanity, of the world. An insistence on having a mother tongue live on is an insistence on having a people, humanity, and the world live on.
She has always been active in women's rights, and she has been working for human rights, freedom of expression and peace in Turkey.
In 2011, on one fall dawn, the police arrived at her home in Istanbul, and without any arrest warrant or even search warrant, they proceeded to search her home, to seize computers and personal documents, and indeed to arrest her. Ayşe Berktay was charged under Turkey's draconian anti-terror legislation with membership of a banned organization, the KCK, which is a pro-Kurdish organization. She was also charged with planning demonstrations and with destabilizing the Turkish state. And essentially, she's been in prison ever since.
The prison we were with Ayşe, two people staying in one small room. The heating was not very good, so we had problems during winter. We are old, and the doctors there are not attentive.
She is in prison, has been in prison since October of 2011, pending trial. She has not been released on bail. Turkey has a habit of now holding people for inordinate periods of time in pretrial detention.
Ayşe Berktay is one of an extraordinarily high number of Turkish authors and journalists, about 130 now by our count, who are either in prison or on trial under Turkey's anti-terror laws.
So the moment you say something that the government doesn't like, you are so easily labeled as a terrorist.
Ayşe is not a terrorist. She's against violence, and she has dedicated her whole life to the hope of peace and women's rights and human rights.
In Turkey, we have brilliant minds and spirits like Ayşe, who has been pressured and intimidated. It's not only about the freedom of expression, it's about this trend that is going on in Turkey.
This past November, a very large delegation from the PEN world internationally traveled to Turkey specifically to meet with government officials to express PEN's alarm about this big surge in arrests of writers and journalists in Turkey.
They went and visited our president, Mr. Gül. And this was a very positive step, I believe. The president also wasn't so happy with what was happening in this country. And they had a very healthy dialogue. And we hoped that after that, maybe some things were going to change. But it did not, to our disappointment.
PEN American Center believes that Ayşe Berktay should be released on bail immediately and that her trial proceed quickly and efficiently, and we're confident that she'll be found not guilty, that there's really no case against her. And she has no business being on trial in the first place. This whole thing is a travesty.
I have no doubt, as I say, that Ayşe Berktay, when she is released, will go back to work with her zeal and commitment for conveying literatures and ideas across cultures and making sure that the members of the Kurdish minority and women in Turkey especially get to participate fully in shaping Turkey's course for the future.
Turkey is a key country in a very volatile region, and it's seen now as this sort of beacon of the modern democratic state. And they do respond when a case has its profile raised, and our hope that we can raise her profile to the extent that the trial progresses and that she's released.
It's crucial that an organization like PEN be able to stand with people like Ayşe Berktay, who are risking their lives, putting themselves on the front lines, and they can do so knowing that PEN is behind them, that we are going to be as forceful, as visible, and as active a force as we can be to ensure that their basic rights are protected.
We're behind you. We are not going to let you stay in your condition, and just have hope, because we got to get her out of there.
She reminds us of what is truly important, and that's not to let other forces silence you. If I were in her shoes, and if I were in the darkness where she is, I would be happy that an organization like PEN heard my voice.